supposedly there's a quiz. Kidding, there is a quiz Monday, very short one. These are just some practice questions for you to do. Very simple. This shouldn't have taken that long to do. So let's get right to it before your Thanksgiving dinner. So number one, use an integer to represent each situation. Gain of 20 points is a gain, so that's associated with plus 20. Okay. Earn 30, again something that's positive. Loss of 45, when you lose something, it's negative. Withdrew, you took something from somewhere, probably from the bank. So you're taking out and you're going to spend it. Okay, so negative, you're losing it. Submarine is 200 feet below sea level. Okay, so below sea level is negative 200. Above sea level would be positive. Temperature rose 12 degrees Celsius. It's positive, so it went up. Okay, those were pretty simple. 2, order the rational numbers from least to greatest. Okay, so I'll write it first to 25, negative 7 over 8, negative 0.75, 2 3/8, negative 1.75, negative 1 4/5. Okay, so we have a couple of fractions here. Okay, let's see if we can do this without changing them to decimals. I would definitely set up a number line, okay, just to place these rational numbers on it first, and then order them. Yes, I'm still coughing. 1, 2, this would be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. I probably need a 3 over there. So 2.25, it's positive, it's 2. Think about money. 2 and 2025, which is about here. Okay, that's gone. Negative 7 over 8, 7/8, which is close to, if this is 0, this would be 1/8, 2/8, and you cut this in 8ths. Negative 7 over 8 would be about here. Okay, if you want to change that to a decimal, you may. You divide 7 divided by 8, take the 7, and you divide it by 8. Let's see. 8 can't go into 7 out of 0, out of decimal. 8 goes into 7 about, what, 6, 7, 8 times, which is 64. 6 left over. Let's bring another 0 down. 8 goes into 67 times 8, 0.87, but negative. So it's about here, closer to negative 1 than to 0. Okay. Negative 0.75, you know what this is. I mean, now that we did this, you know that 7 over 8 is negative 0.87, negative 0.87, negative 0.75. It's before that, so it's about here. Okay. 2 3/8. Okay, now you got to decide if 2 3/8 is after 225 or before 225. So yes, we might need to change it. So the 2 stays the whole number. Let's find out what 3/8 is. So it's 3 divided by 8. 8 does not go into 3. Let's add a decimal. 0. 0 going to 30 about 3 times, which is 24. 8, another 0, bring it down. And 8 goes into 80. Oops, did I make 6? Sorry. 10 minus 4 is 6. 60, and 8 goes into 67 times. So 0.37. Now, so 2.38 is 2.3 over 8 changes to 0.37. So that's more or less what it is. Okay, this division will probably go on. So now you know that 2 3/8 is after 225. So somewhere about here, 2.37. Okay, that's done. That's done. Negative 1.75. Well, that's 1. I'm sorry, that's 0. Negative 1. Negative 1.5 over here. And negative 1.75 would be just about here. And then we have the last one, negative 1 4/5. So now you got to decide if negative 1 4/5 is after 1.75 or before. Okay, so let's change to 4/5. 4/5 is pretty easy. Okay, you should know that. So 4/5. 5 does not go into 4, so add a 0. Decimal. And 5 goes into 48 times. So negative 1 stays, and the 4/5 changes to 8. Negative 1.8. So this is negative, this is 0, negative 1, negative 1.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, negative 1.8 would be here. Okay. Now you can put them in order from least to greatest, and you don't have to think about it. It's just negative 1.8, negative 1.75, 7/8, 0.75, 2.25, and 2.37. So you go from left to right. Remember, the numbers on your right are always bigger. Okay? So definitely changing these to decimals did help out in this case. Okay. 3. Which of the following has the least value? Explain why. Well, let's see. One is negative 3. The other one is the absolute value of negative 3. Well, the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. Remember, what's the absolute value? It's how far this particular number is away from 0. And negative 3 is 3 spaces away from 0. So now you have absolute value of negative 3, which in reality is really just 3, and you got negative 3. So which one has the least value? This one. And if you want to prove it, okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So you had two numbers initially, this one or this one, right? So negative 3 is here. And the absolute value of negative 3, we had to find the absolute value, and the absolute value was 3. And that 3 is here. Which one has a bigger value? This guy right here. Okay? Which is the absolute value of negative 3. Next one, Tony said negative 2.3 is less than negative 2.35, and which is less than negative 2.03. And Lisa said it was incorrect, and the order was negative 2.35, negative 2.3, and negative 2.03. Who's correct? Use a number line. Well, that's what the number line is for. So we don't need too many positive numbers because they're all negative. So let's take a 0, put it over here. Put negative 1 over here. Put negative 2 over here. Or even so, I didn't even need those. Okay. So all your numbers are going to be between negative 3 and negative 2. So let's take the first number, negative 2.3. Well, negative 2, negative 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. So 2.3 is about here. Negative 2.35, where would that be? Before or after? Well, if I'm walking that way, that's negative 2, negative 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, and 2.3 is the same thing as negative 2.30, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. 35 would be about here. Okay. Okay, so that's negative 2.35. Okay. And then our last number is negative 2.03. So think about money. So if this is 2, that would be 2, 2.01, 2.02, 2.03. So we're talking about, right, somewhere very close to 2. So, who's your biggest number? This guy here, biggest. Why? Because it's to the right. Second biggest, and the smallest number is 2.35. So who had it correct? It was Lisa. Lisa said 2.35 is less than 2.30, which is less than 2.03. Okay, so Lisa had it correct. Okay, number line comes in handy. Once you place the number in the number line, can't really mess it. Okay, because they will be in order from least to greatest. Okay, 5, find the absolute value. Okay, that's pretty easy. Absolute value of negative 24. How many spaces is that away from 0? 24 spaces, or 24 steps. Absolute value of 0 is 0. Ooh, absolute value of negative 12 plus absolute value of 13. Well, you can't add them in the way they are. So take the absolute value of negative 12, which is 12. Absolute value of 13 is 13. Now they're just pretty old-fashioned numbers, and that's 25. On the other side, absolute value of 13 is 13. Negative 5 minus, okay, so here I made a mistake because we haven't done negative numbers or subtraction of negative numbers. So please ignore this question. I'll do it anyway. Absolute value of negative 5 is 5. Then you have minus absolute value of 8, which is 8. Okay, we haven't done subtraction of integers, but the answer, if you do know, it's negative 3. And finally, the last one says absolute value of 7, and that dot indicates multiplication. times absolute value of negative 3. Absolute value of 7 is 7 times absolute value of negative 3, which is 3. Final answer, 21. Okay, so the one that was subtraction right here is the one that you won't see on the quiz. 6. Start with an integer, so let's create a number line. Okay, this one I'll need a few numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 negatives. Okay, start with the integer negative 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 4 is right here. And label it as point. Oof. I should have said label it as point P. Okay, so this is your P. I hope. Okay, you see a little square that should have said P. So if you don't know how to do it, I'm hoping that by the time you watch the video, you can stop it right now, do it, and then come back. Okay, so this will be labeled as point P, and based on this, you're going to do the 3 questions. Label point A. We gotta find point A, which is the opposite of P. The opposite of P is negative. If P is negative 4, the opposite of negative 4 is plus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that we're gonna call it A. Label point B, a number less than P. Well, a number less than P. Okay, so go back to P, which is negative 4. To be less than negative 4, should be any numbers on this side. Pick any. Let's just pick this guy. It's negative 6, and we'll call that letter B. And then we need to find one more, point C, which is a number greater than P. Well, here's P. Any number to the right of P, here, this whole section, any number in this section, you can pick anyone. I'll just pick 0. Because it's greater than P. Okay, you could have picked any other one. Okay, so sorry about that. So in the question, hopefully, it should have said label it as point P, that little square that you see. No mistake. Turn the page over. Determine if the numbers are counting, whole, integer, or rational. Okay, so 5 is counting, whole, integer, and rational. So it's all 4. What else do we have? Negative 3.2. Negative 3.2 is just rational. It's not counting, it's not whole, and it's not an integer. Negative 9, integer, and rational. 5.5, rational. 3.4444, or just 3.4 with a bar notation on top, is rational. 0 is a whole, it's an integer, and it's rational. Okay? Easy. 6, compare. So 6 was compare, so let's compare. 3/5 and 2/7. There's so many ways. I'm going to do it 2 ways. First way is you can find an LCM. So if you find the LCM, it's 35. And then this would be times 7, 21. This would be times 5 is 10. They both have the same denominator. Now you can easily compare. 21 over 35 or 10 over 35. So 21 over 35 is definitely bigger. You can change this to a decimal. 3 over 5 divided. 3 divided by 5, 0.0 be 0.6. So if you change to decimal, you have 0.6. And 2/7, 2 goes inside. 7 does not go into 2. Add a 0, add a decimal. 7 goes to 20. 2 times 14, 6, 0, 0. 7 goes to 60 8 times, and you still would go on, but it's about 0.28. So if you change to decimal again, you get to find the same answer, 0.6. Definitely bigger than 0.28. Okay, so you got options here. That was one of them. Okay, so now we got negative 4.78. Negative 4.07. Hopefully you ran out. So now you know that the bigger the number on the negative side, the less its value because it's further away, okay, from 0. So this number is definitely less than that. Or you can create a number line. Let's just make this negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. You know that 0 is somewhere over here. So as you're walking, 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, then it'd be negative 4.07. Blah, blah, blah. A little bit more, you get negative 4.78. Who's the bigger number? This guy, because it's on the right. So definitely 4.78 is less than negative 4.47. So use your number line when you need it. Next one, negative 546, negative 547. Again, I'll put these on a number line. Okay, so your 0 is way somewhere to the right. Here is negative 545, negative 546, negative 547, and so forth, so forth. So who's bigger between this and this? Well, negative 546, because it's to the right. So this one is bigger. Now we have 7 positive, 8 over 11, and 7, 12 over 15. Choice is yours. You can find the LCM between the two fractions, or divide and find the decimal. Okay, so, geez. What should I do? Well, I'm going to, yikes. Let's see, 7. Why don't I do that? 8, 11. 11 does not go into 8. Add 0, and that goes to 7. 77 times 3, bring another 0 down. 2, so it's about 7.72, because I changed 8 over 11 to 0.72. 12 over 15. 12 goes inside because it's the numerator. 15, add a decimal. Add 0, 15 goes in 12, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, about 8. 8 times 5 is 40, goes 4 more 20. Oh, 0.8. So 7 and 12 or 15 is 7.8 or 80. So now that they're in a decimal, both of them are in decimals, you can easily tell that this guy is smaller than this. And there's your sign. Next one, absolute value of negative 8 and negative 6. Well, you can't do this problem yet. So let's take the absolute value of negative 8, which becomes 8. Now you can easily tell, and 8 is definitely bigger than negative 6. We have one more, absolute value of negative 87 and absolute value of 87. Well, negative 87, if you take the absolute value, that's 87 spaces away from 0. Absolute value of positive 87 is also an 87, because that's 87 spaces away from 0. And this one, they're definitely equal. A Brazilian submarine, if there is such a thing, is, here's your sea level. The Brazilian one, I call it B, it's at negative 125, which is down here. Okay, B for Brazilian, negative 25. The Canadian submarine is lower, 45 feet lower. So there's a Canadian one hanging out here. Okay, so this is a Brazilian submarine, and the Canadian one is down here. We know that the Brazilian is at negative 125, and the Canadian is 45 feet lower, so it's definitely deeper into the ocean. Where's the location of the Canadian submarine? Well, it'd be 45 more. So 45 more, you get 10, goes 170, so the Canadian one would be at negative 170 feet below sea level. Okay, definitely lower. Okay, not up, but low. 10, order the integers from least to greatest. 23, negative 13, absolute value of negative 28, 4, negative 5, negative 9. Okay, so first thing we got to do is change this guy to find the absolute value of negative 28, which is 28. Now you can easily find, and you can put them on the number line if you want. Okay, so number line, the numbers are quite spread out, so let me do something like this: 10, 20, 30, negative 10, negative 20, negative 30. 23, positive, it's about here. Negative 13, 0, negative 10, negative 13 is about here. 28, positive, close to 30. Done, done, done. 4, about here. Negative 5, that's 0, negative 1, negative 2, be right here. and negative 9, which would be right before negative 10. Did it say least to greatest? Well, least would be negative 13, negative 9, negative 5, 4, 23, 28. Number line helps. Okay. Create a number line to show three rational numbers that are between negative 4 and negative 5. So here's my number line. I want three rational numbers between negative 4 and negative 5. Well, so, okay, that's 0 because it helps me. 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. So we're talking about this space right here. The space between this number and this number. Give me three rational numbers that are in there. 3. Well, how about negative 4.15? That's in there. Negative 4.28. That's also between these two. Negative 4.9999. Is it in there? Yes, it is. So there is a variety or infinite number of rational numbers inside. You could have done negative 4 and 1/2, negative 4 and 2/3, and so forth and so forth. So I only needed 3. Okay. So your number line should have looked, actually, even yet, you notice that I didn't need a 0, but the 0 is only because I fear that some of you might do this. Notice that the negative 4 is on this side instead of being this side, so this is an incorrect number line. By putting a 0, okay, you're forced to put the negative 4 on the right side, which is this side, okay, not the other way around. Okay. Next one. Create a number line to show three rational numbers between negative 1.8 and 1.9. Okay. Oof. All right, so I'm going to take and put a 0 right here. I don't need the positives. This is 0. If that's 0, this is negative 1. And if that's negative 1, this is negative 2. Now, negative 1.8, this is negative 1.1, negative 1, negative 1.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. Here's negative 1.8. Next to it would be negative 1.9. Put a decimal there. So, I want three rational numbers that are in here, between this guy and this guy. Easy thing for you to do is to maybe add a 0. Make that 1.80. Make that 1.90 negative. Now, three rational numbers in between. Negative 1.81. That's in there. Negative 1.84. That's also in there. Negative 1.89. That's also in there. So all these three are examples of three rational numbers that are in between that space. Okay? Almost over. Positives now. Good. So again, we don't have to worry about this negative. So 0 is on this side, and we're going this way. If that's a 1, that's a 2, and that's a 3. The two numbers we're talking about, negative 2 and 1/5, and negative 2 and 3/8. Okay, so I would change that to decimal. Negative 1/5 is the same thing as 2.2. So this is the location, 2.2. And 3/8, I have no idea. It's 3 divided by 8, so 8 goes into 3, I don't know. 2 times? No, it doesn't go at all. Decimal, 0, 0. 3 times, 24. 6, bring another 0 down, would be 7 times, which is 56. Okay, 4, 0 down. And that's, so it's be 0.375. So 2 and 3/8 is 2.37. We're just going to round it and make it 2.38. Okay, 2.38. So 2.2 or 2.20, let's add a 0 to make life easier. And 2 and 3/8 would be 2.38. So we want three rational numbers residing in this area right here. Well, it's very easy for you to see. Any number from 220 to 2.38. So you can say 2.21, 2.35, 2.35, 2.36666. That there. 2.37999 in there too. So there's an infinite number. Okay, so what helps is that adding that 0 to make it a 2 to 20, that does help see it. Okay. Last 6 questions. 5 over 9. Okay, so let's divide. 5 goes inside. 5, 9, 0, 0, 0, 7, 6, 5, I don't know, 4, 5, 5, so it's 45. It's going to be a repeating decimal. Okay, because if I bring another 0, still at 50 again, and so forth. So it's going to be 0.5 with a bar notation. 4 and 7/8. Ugh. 7 divided by 8. 0.08, 64, 6, 0, bring it down, 7, 56, 4, bring another 0 down, there, 5. 4 and 7/8 is the same thing as 4, and the decimal equivalent of 7/8 is 0.875. 25 over 40, yikes. You can simplify before you divide if you choose to. I'm not going to, because, I don't know, 40 does not go into 25, that's a 0 at a decimal. 40 goes into 250, I don't know, 5 times, which is 200. No, it should have been 6, 240, 1, 0, bring another 0 down. 40 goes into 102 times, which is 80. 20 left over, bring another 0 down. 40 goes 205 times. So 25 over 40 is 0.625. 4 and 7/8. Did I do that one? I hope so. 186 to a fraction. 1 is your whole number. 86 over 100, because the 6, the last digit, is a hundredths decimal place. 0.1283. It's just simply 1283 over 10, 100,000, 10,000. Finally, 12.3. 12 is your whole number, and 3 over 10. Okay, that's it. I do need to see this for credit, and happy Thanksgiving.